Some Epic Games employees are working between 10 to 14 hours a day, every week. In this video, I'm going to talk about a recent article that was released by Polygon, which interviewed several Epic employees and talked about the success of Fortnite and how that has impacted their job at Epic and the changes that have had to be made. And I'm also just going to talk about why the weekly update cycle is killing the game and ruining the game, not only from a player perspective, a content creator perspective, but from the people who make the game. It is ruining their lives too. So remember to drop a like on this video and subscribe if you would like to see more. I'm going to talk about those things, read some quotes from this article, and then yeah, we'll get into it. This article will be linked down in the description if you guys want to read it, but I'm going to start off with some quotes from the article. This first one says, "Everything has to be done immediately. We're not allowed to spend time on anything. If something breaks, a weapon say, then we can't just turn it off and fix it with the next patch. It has to be fixed immediately, and all the while we're still working on the next week's patch." Another employee said, "I hardly sleep. I'm grumpy at home. I have no energy to go out. Getting a weekend away from work is a major achievement. If I take a Sunday off, I feel guilty. I'm not being forced to work this way, but if I don't, then the job won't get done." This is insane stuff. Think about this. Think about how big how long Fortnite has been big since basically December 2017. These people have been giving their entire lives to improve the game. One last quote I want to read says, "I know some people who have just refused to work weekends, and then we missed a deadline because of their part of the package wasn't completed and they were fired. People are losing their jobs because they don't want to work these hours." And this, like I've said, this is really unrealistic hours to expect people to maintain for over a year at this point. The entire article will be linked down in the description if you would like to read it. But yeah, I'm someone who has criticized Epic a lot and criticized the decisions they make about the game a lot, but it is somewhat understandable that bad decisions are consistently made when there are so many facets of this game that is changing every week. One of the best ways to improve the game would be to get rid of the weekly update cycle. Not only is this creating updates that are really buggy and creating weapons that are untested and clearly overpowered or broken, it's also creating a horrible experience for the employees of the game. And if the employees of the game get fired when they don't want to work a weekend, what happens? Somebody else is going to come in, right? They're going to hire somebody new. And then that person won't necessarily be completely familiar with how Fortnite is. It's not good to replace development staff often because of minor things like that. So from a developer standpoint, that is why weekly updates are bad. As a player, the game is constantly glitched and bugged. There's always something new to be released. There's always a new weapon to play around with, which is exciting. But in the same time, you don't really get to experience or improve at the game because the game is always changing. And the bugs are very frustrating. I think everybody has seen bugs in the game at this point. They're constant. Every update seems to break the game in some meaningful way. Recently, there was a lot of hitching and frame rate lag, even from players with really high-end PCs. They were having a lot of frame rate lag and a lot of issues with the game. So I think it is very obvious that weekly updates are really not sustainable anymore. And I think going forward, the best way to do things would be to change the update cycle a little bit. The current update format is that we get a main update, or a title update, I think is what they call it, 1 week. So week 1, we get a title update. And then week 2, we get a content update, which is something minor to the title update. And it's usually just bug fixes and maybe a weapon. It's typically things that are very minor, and there's nothing massive that changes with these content updates. And then there's a title update, and then there's a content update. So they stagger the larger title updates with a small content update in between. I think the best way to do things would make larger title updates that are tested better and obviously bug free. Things will never be bug free, but as bug free as they can be. You know what I mean? This will give the developers more time to work on the updates, more time to balance the weapons, more time to find bugs. Also, more time to take feedback. A lot of people are unhappy with the current state of the game and feel like Epic isn't listening, but how are they supposed to get feedback in from players and play the game themselves? This is something that I've said a lot as well. It seems like they do not play their own game and they don't necessarily understand things. Where would they get time to play the game if they have to work 10 to 14 hours a day on the game? There's no time for them to experience the game, to actually better understand what the players are saying themselves. They just have to take feedback in, which they can't really implement until weeks down the line because they have to be constantly working on what's now or what's due at the end of the day or the end of the week, whatever. They have to be constantly working on the new update, so they aren't actually able to take in that player feedback, factor that player feedback, and improve the current update. So I think it's very obvious that this update model is not working, and I think there's no real need to explain it further than that. This update format is not working. I think a better way to do things would be to just do one title update a month, maybe, and then have 1 or 2 content updates. Those content updates are the smaller one. Like let's say we get week 1 of a month, we get a title update. Week 2, we get nothing. Week 3, we get a content update. And maybe week 4, we get a content update if it is necessary. And then the cycle just repeats. They could even space it out even further. This is something that's kind of tough to get around because one of the ways that the game stays popular is because of that constant updates and those constant new weapons, that constant content. But I think they can get away with making less content if they bring back older weapons, bring back older locations. They can get away with producing new things less if they use their old things more. Let's say there's no big update next week or no big update next month, and instead the heavy AR gets vaulted, the burst comes back. The heavy sniper gets vaulted, the bolt sniper comes back. There's a lot of weapons in the game that they could cycle in and out like that. Obviously, you want to avoid some of the more absurd weapons like the drum gun or just things like that. But they could vault some things and bring other things back. That way, they don't have to design something completely new. And there's already that player familiarity with the weapon. So the players aren't constantly learning new things. The developers aren't constantly making new things. And sure, it might not be as hyped as a brand new weapon. But if you bring back a beloved weapon or a beloved location, then players will be very hyped. Imagine they bring back Greasy next season and they make the left side of the map look like how it used to. That's one area that they don't have to design a whole completely new location, and players are going to be happy to have Greasy Grove back. Imagine they put Anarchy Acres back. They obviously Lazy Lagoon just got here, so they probably won't do that. But yeah, imagine they bring back the prison and put that in the desert and maybe make it look desert themed, but they can bring back the prison. They already have most of that building or area created, and the players already have familiarity with it. I think players would actually be very hyped to see these older locations back, and it would kind of cut out some of the stuff that they have to develop. You know what I mean? Allow them to spend more time on the newer locations. So that's what I think about this. Like I said, they should do 1 title update a month and maybe 1 to 2 content updates a month just to fix bugs or whatever they have to do. And I think this will lead to a more healthy community and a healthy developer base. I think the developers will be more in touch with what the players actually want and the frustrations that the players have. So let me know what you think of this down in the comments below. Like I said, the article will be linked in the description. I definitely think you should check it out because we all criticize Epic all the time. But they're in a tough spot themselves because higher ups at Epic really want weekly updates to keep the game fresh. So remember to like the video, comment what you think. I would appreciate it if you would share this video so that more people can see these ideas about how the game could be improved, because the current format is unsustainable and we're just going to keep getting really buggy updates and developers that they don't have time to listen to us. It's not that they aren't listening to us, it's that they literally do not have time. So I appreciate all of you watching this video. Like I said, share it, talk to your friends about it, whatever. I'll see you guys another time. Thanks for watching.